Hey everyone, how are you? How are you doing? So, you probably are looking at this Facebook Live and you see that this is a different face than the beautiful Amy Yamada. So, my name is Jackie Kotei, and I am a colleague of Amy's, and I am filling in for her today. So, I am subbing for her today, and I am so excited to be doing this. I know that all throughout the month of May, she's been doing a May marketing boot camp where you can tune in and really get some of the best and just the best strategy around how to grow your audience, how to get great connections, and really be able to do some cool things. And so today I get to sub in for her, and I get to really share what I'm brilliant at, which is helping you connect with your audience by getting featured in the media. So I see we have a bunch of people that are tuning in. Hey Kelly, hi Cece, hey Yvette, it's good to see you. So just to give you a little bit of background, I love talking about the media, and I really love showcasing how the media can help you catapult your business. And a lot of what happens to be able to do great media is really from you connecting authentically with the media and using those connections to get in front of their ideal audience. So before I talk a little bit about that, I just want to share a bit about who I am. So I spent a lot of time just working in the media as a TV reporter. I worked as a journalist and a producer. And I remember still like it was yesterday. This was about 15 years ago. I know I don't look like it would have been 15 years ago, but it was about, I'm going to talk about my earrings, Cece. You said you love my earrings. I'm going to talk about why that's important and why I chose those for this specific Facebook Live. But I remember like it was yesterday. I was kind of going through my new age phase where I was starting to open up and increase my consciousness and my awareness of the law of attraction and all those things. And I remember sitting on the desk at ABC's Washington Bureau. I was working at their network offices out of DC, and I was doing production. And so I was sitting at the desk, I was reading A New Earth, and I just had this vision that I wanted to not just be behind the scenes in the media, but that I wanted to be on TV. And I know that so many of you that are in Amy's community, it's like you're at that place in your business where it's not enough just to be a secret or not enough just to kind of be doing your business or kind of being seen. You want to really get in front of more clients and more of an audience. And so that's exactly where I was. I had this calling inside of me, even though people had looked at me and thought I was successful because I was working in television and I had went to school and landed my dream job and I was working at one of the major networks. Everyone thought I was successful, but I knew that there was a deeper calling for me to do something more and do something else. And for me, that was really wanting to be on television. I wanted to be able to have people that look like me represented. I wanted to be able to tell my story in a way that was authentic, and I wanted to impact more people. And so here I was sitting on the news desk at ABC's Washington Bureau, reading the book A New Earth. And it was one of those books at the time I had read A New Earth, Eat, Pray, Love, and The Alchemist. And those were like my three books. And I think one of Louise Hay's books, like You Can Change Your Life. Has anyone read those books or seen those books or come across them? For me, they were like the thing that started it all. They were the catalyst that made me think it was possible to get on TV, because at the time I was told that it was near impossible, that because I had no experience, because my hair was natural, because television producers and news directors got tons of, I think at the time, this is when you sent VHS tapes to them. Has anybody been around? Does anybody remember VHS tapes? So back then, in order to get on TV, you had to send a VHS tape to the news director, and the news director would say yes or no, and you might just get a call. And so long story short, I was in that phase sitting on the news desk, and my phone rings, and it's my girlfriend who had just interviewed with a news director in the Maryland area, and she said, Jackie, I was interviewing with this news director and he asked me if I knew you. And he had asked her that because he saw on her resume that she went to the same journalism school that I did. And so he said, do you know Jackie? And she's like, yeah, we happen to be good friends. And so long story short, I went from not having a clue how I was going to get on TV and get in the media to getting an interview with a news director, hadn't applied, hadn't sent in a resume tape, hadn't gone through this whole struggle that people like talked about, and I was having an interview to be on TV with a news director just from a phone call, just from me shifting my mindset, just from me looking at things and opening myself up to what's possible. And so from there, I went to do the interview, and about 6 months later, I was on television every day as a news reporter, an on-air reporter. I did some nights where I was a producer. From there, I got picked up by CNN for the first time to share about a story that was happening locally that had national implications, and the rest is really history. And so why do I start here today? Because I know that Amy has been sharing a lot with you about connections and a lot with you about how connections really are the secret sauce. I mean, Amy is brilliant at that. I often call her and I'm like, I got this thing going on. Like, how would you phrase it? How would you do it authentically? How would you position it? And so what I want to talk about today is how to take those connections that she's really been sharing with you and a lot of that framework and apply it to the media. And so many of you that are watching, you may be thinking, why media? I mean, why media anyway? Like, what is the purpose? I know so many people that are change makers, that are thought leaders and experts and coaches and people that are doing really cool things in the world. They often think there is no point in doing media because of all the doom and gloom. And I'm here to say, what if you could get on a television station like my client Krista, who we got on Hallmark Channel, and be in front of an audience that is all about home and family and the gushy great things that are happening in the world? What if you could take your message to an audience of 17,000 viewers on a local affiliate that's already there, meaning you don't have to build the audience. You don't have to do the promotions. You don't have to hope that thousands of people come to your event because you promoted it. The media already has a custom built audience that's there for you. And this is kind of my first point that I want to touch on, is why media. Often members of the media have their niche dialed in, meaning that they report on health, or they already report on business, or they already report on travel, or they already report on fashion, and they already have a customized built list that they've created of people that want nothing but that kind of news. And I want to be clear, when I talk about media, I'm not just talking about national, local, I'm not talking about social media, I'm talking about mainstream media, which might be national and local, but it might also be magazines or radio shows or television shows that are specifically geared toward certain types of segments and certain types of audiences. So that's what I mean when I say media. And I want to just ask you, what if, so let me just make sure you guys can all see me and hear me here, because I just saw someone said, I don't see a video. So let me make sure that you can see me and hear me. So that we're all on the same page. So that is one of the things that is important when it comes to why media. Okay, great. Yvette is holding me down. Okay, great. Yvette can see me. So that means everyone can see me. Great. Okay, so why media? One is that they already have custom audiences that are built that are waiting for you to share your expertise. And if you think about the people that are at the top of your industry, no matter what industry you're in, chances are they've been on media or they do media routinely. And so if you can think about the media as an ambassador, as someone who, an entity that is endorsing your work, an entity that is taking what you do and getting it in front of hundreds or thousands of people, that's one of the reasons why you want to consider the media and why you really want to think about the media when you're thinking about your strategy. And I just want to pull up this quote here. where Oprah talks about you get in this life what you have the courage to ask for. And that is one of my favorite quotes. You get in this life what you have the courage to ask for. And so I want you to think about, what is it that you want in your business over the next 12 months, over the next 6 months? What do you want to be doing? What do you want to be accomplishing? And I'd love for you to share that in the chat here. What is it that you want in your business? What is it that you want to be accomplishing? You know, often I work with people who might be authors or might be wanting to do something and have an impact bigger than just their email list or the social media following that they've already built up. And so when you think about what you want to accomplish over the next 6 to 12 months, often the media can help you reach more people and get there sooner or in a more expedited way than if you were to do all of the promotions, all of the spreading the word on your own. And so that's why media. That's why you want to think about media. And there's all kinds of media that exists. There is magazine, podcast, radio. There's magazines that cover nothing but technology. There's magazines out there and radio and television shows that cover nothing but health or cover nothing but women's interests or have an entire demographic of your ideal clients. And so how do you, so that was Oprah's quote. She says, you get in this life what you have the courage to ask for. And so, for example, Kelly, I see that you say, I want to scale my business and have an impact on a wider audience. So you think about the media, scale and impact. Often when we think about who we're reaching, we tend to be reaching people that have come across our work in some form or fashion. Whereas the average American, you think about our industry, especially if you're in this, like what I'll call the coaching industry, the coaching world, it tends to be not, it's like a very insulated industry where when I walk on my block and I tell my neighbors what I do and that I have a multiple six-figure business from the comfort of my home, they're like, what? You're on Facebook Live doing what? You're on chat doing what? Like, what are you doing on Zoom? Has anyone had that happen? I mean, that is my dad all the time. He's like, I just don't get what you do on the computer all day. And so it's kind of, we're in our own little universe. We're in our own little bubble where it's just you, me, and the people that might be supporting us or the people that are helping us with strategy and a few others. And those might be the people that are on your email list or the people that are on your Facebook group or on your page in your group. And so when you think about wanting to have a bigger impact, you really need to get outside of just preaching to the choir. That's the choir. It's like the people that already know about you. You need to get outside of preaching to the choir to being able to go in front of new audiences, new territory, new people that don't know that you even exist. And so that's what you want to think about when it comes to Kelly. You want to have to have an impact on a wider audience. There is no wider audience than mainstream America. And often when I say mainstream America, I have like light work. I work with all kind of people. One of my clients, her name is Saskia, and she's a fertility coach, and she helps women get pregnant with helping them release their fears and inner blocks. That is not mainstream at all. And so often when I talk about taking what you do to mainstream, people are like, okay, but will mainstream even care? And I'm here to say that you as the light get to be the one to be the pioneer that takes your work and has more people see the value and the importance of that. And part of that is through connecting in the media, to actually reaching out and connecting with the media. The other thing that I'll say really quickly about scale is that one media interview, you get to get recorded or you get a clip of it and you can repurpose it in so many different ways. Part of it is getting the actual copy of the interview, using it on your website, using it as you go and want to get speaking engagements, as you go and do book book deals often. We have an event coming up called Become the Next Big Buzz. It's a free 2-day event here in the Rockville, Maryland area where people are coming in, and I'm happy to put the link in if people want to attend that. But even for that event, we are putting the As Seen On logo everywhere. And that makes our conversions on Facebook ads better and like more efficient. It makes people so much more excited about the work we do. And so I could go on and on and on, but I think you're starting to get why media. And I want you just to give me some likes or some hearts if you get it, because I could go on and on and on. I want to dive into what the next point is, which is how to connect with the media and why do you want to even take time to connect. And that brings me to my earrings. And so earlier someone said they like my earrings. And so connecting with the media is really about more than you just getting on that television show or in that magazine once. It really is about opening the door to a new set of relationships that are only going to serve you again and again and again in your career and in the business that you're building. Imagine this. Imagine if you had 5 journalists that you built authentic connections with. And those 5 journalists are going to, over the course of their career, only get bigger. You know, you think about someone like Anderson Cooper. I mean, he had to start at a local station somewhere in the middle of nowhere. You know, Hoda Kotei, who is the Today Show anchor. I used to intern for her. I remember working with her. I emailed her for a client just recently, and she's like, oh yeah, I remember you. But I remember her when she wasn't on the Today Show. And imagine if you, right now, even in your local market, built relationships, built a connection with 5 reporters. Because most reporters, the average lifespan of them at one job is anywhere from 2 years to maybe 5 years. And typically what happens even over the course of those 2 to 5 years is that within that job, they wind up getting promoted or covering special stories or assignments. And so they remember their sources. They remember the people that they know they can go to and have those people comment on stories or help them out with facts or give them an interview when they can't find anyone. I mean, that was me. Often on Thanksgiving and Christmas, I would have to work because the news is not closed on those days. And I remember sometimes on Christmas Eve thinking, who can I interview? How can I find someone to interview? And just imagine if your email popped up in my inbox and you were the one that connected with me, what that would have done for me. I would remember you when I go and do the next big assignment or the next big assignment, especially if you were to reach out and say, hey, Jackie, my book is about to go live. Could you do me a favor and feature it? Or I'm going to be in town and I saw you just got moved to this new station. I'd love to come on and do a story. That is how connections happen. So I want to give you some practicals about how to do that. Would that help you if I broke down how to do that? Because I think sometimes people think it's a mystery or that it is harder than it needs to be. And I want to just go back to what I started off with saying that when you open to what's possible around it, magical things really do start to happen. Like it happened for me. I mean, out of the blue, I got a call from a news director and that got me on television. And so the rest was history. So I want to start with these earrings because this was something that I never got to do in media. When I used to work in media, I was very afraid of being myself. And it took a lot for me to be myself. Let me say it that way. It took a lot. And how many of you are afraid to do media or even think about doing television because you're thinking, I'm going to have to not be myself, or me as I am is not good enough because I don't know what to say or I don't know what to look like or just all of those things. That was me. I mean, I did not look like all my other colleagues. And I remember only wearing earrings that were pearls or very short, and my hair was, I used to wear a wig of fake hair because I actually had a professor who was African American tell me that you're never going to get on TV with dreadlocks. And so I said, okay, well, you've done it. I mean, this was someone who had been a network reporter at CBS. And I said, all right. And so I got rid of my locks because I said, okay, and I want to go on. And that caused so much, like, it just tore me up. I mean, my confidence was shattered. Even though I was on TV, it was like I didn't believe that I could do more and that I could be as great as I thought I could on my vision board. And so now, fast forward 15 years later, so much has changed. You see, I have locks, but I also believe that authenticity is the currency in this day and age. So much has changed in the world, even over the last 15 years. And I often talk to my clients. I had two clients come in and do an in-studio thing with me a few weeks ago where we did a TV studio immersion and gave them practice on camera and all of that stuff. And we do those often. And one of the things we kept working on is the old rules of business are out. You know, the dress in the collar blazer and wear your hair all tightly in a bun. And it's like be masculine and fear. It's like that's out. Now it's about authenticity. Authenticity converts. I want you to write that down. Authenticity converts. And so, do you love me more that I have these cool earrings, or, you know, would I blend in and be just like everyone else if I didn't have a statement piece? And so you have to figure out for yourself how this applies when it comes to your marketing and your business and your image and your brand. But for me, I am someone who routinely now colors outside of the lines because I wasn't able to when I was on TV every day. And now I'm really showing people that you can do both. You can be featured on TV in a way that's authentic to you. And so one of the ways that you can connect with the media is start by seeing who's in your local area. Now, we often provide people a media list, and we can do that if you send me a message and you want help on things like that. You can just send me a private message here on Facebook. But what you want to think about is who are the media in your local area. And so one way to do that is just to use Google. You can Google the word reporters plus whatever area you're in. And most times, in most cases, you probably have 4 or 5 television stations that are in your area. And typically those are the television stations that are by most of the main call letters. So you probably have an ABC, a Fox, a CBS, maybe a CW, and maybe one other local affiliate. And so you want to think of who are the local television affiliates, what are the local magazines, what are the local radio or newspapers. That should give you a list of at least 10 great leads of media reporters or media places that are just in your own backyard. And we're going to just start here and keep it here because that's a good place to start if you're just opening up to the possibility of doing media. So you want to think about who are those 10. And like I said, you can just look on Google to figure it out. And then you want to go and pull up the station website. And what I like to have people do is look at the Meet the Team section or look at the footer where it has contact and just start to look through who are the reporters there. What are the ones that you see? Is there a health reporter? Okay, look at the health reporter's bio and see, where did they go to school? Do they have children? Do they have dogs? Find a point of connection. Often you can find a point of connection by either where they're from, what they like to do, what you have in common with them, who they donate and give money to. So that's what you want to do. You want to pull up the list of who's in your area, what local media is in your area, then take a look at that media's website and look at their team, look at their staff of reporters, and find one reporter that either covers your area of expertise or that you naturally have something in common with. So that is what you want to do to get started. And then to go one layer deep, I like to take that reporter's name and also look them up on social media. Look at what they post about. Look at what they follow, what they cover. What are you going to find out by that? You are going to find out what they really care about and what they really are interested in. And those two steps alone will help you reach out to them. And I recommend an email. You can send a simple connection email. I know that's Amy's phrase, connection emails. So you can send a simple connection email, something like, I wanted to reach out. And that might be the subject line. And then the email might just be, hey, so-and-so, I saw that you cover this. I saw that you love to do this. I saw that you're interested in this. I wanted to reach out and connect. I also then relate back whatever you have in common. So I just wanted to connect. I just wanted to reach out. And then you can go on to maybe talk about something you've seen them cover or something you've seen them do. But the point of this is just to get the conversation started. And I like to keep this simple because I don't want to overwhelm you. You just want to get the conversation started. Now, recently, I have a program where I had our clients do this, and it was so cool to see the responses that they got back. One of them got a response back where the reporter was like, oh, well, it's good that you connected, and the reporter had remembered her from something else, and so they invited her to a luncheon that they're doing. Another one got a response back that said, I can't wait to see what you're going to send me about your work. But it's just to get a conversation started. And that really is a good way to start connecting with the media. Now, the second email that you send might actually be a story idea. Maybe it's your book that you wanted them to feature, or maybe it's something else that you want them to cover or highlight you around. But that is a good place to get started. If you want to do publicity that has time constraints, you just want to maybe bypass having to do it on your own and really get some help to expedite the results. I mean, that's part of what we do, at our Big Buzz event and some of our other work. But you can also include those time constraints in the email that you send. And so maybe instead of sending that initial connection email, you might just want to make the first part of the email the connection part, and then the rest of it will be talking about the thing that you have time constraints on. We just did that with a client who we actually got featured on national TV. And I know some of you guys know Krista O'Leary, and that's what we did. We sent an email where in the first 2 sentences we connected with the reporter and we engaged. It actually was a booker, a TV booker. We engaged with them, and then we went into the pitch. And believe it or not, we got a response back in 24 hours, in less than 24 hours. That reporter got back to us and said, absolutely, we want her on. We'll forward this to the producer, and she was on in 2 weeks. So it can happen with time constraints. It just needs to be a lot more thought through and strategic on how you reach out and connect. So I am so glad that I got a chance to share this with you guys. I want to just leave a few moments for any questions that you have. If there's anything else that you have questions on before I wrap up and go. I know I just answered Yvette's question, and I'm happy to answer any other questions. But I think in general, my point in having you guys listen and for us to talk about media when it comes to your marketing is that media really is one of the best marketing videos that you will ever have. Think about that. Most times to go get a marketing video professionally produced, it's going to cost you a few $1,000s. And with media, I talk about TV a lot because I love getting people on TV. That's what I specialize in, is on helping them do TV well and really get on TV. And so you think about a television interview in front of your ideal audience, that is going to not only be on that television's website, but you're going to have the video, and it's third-party credibility and endorsements that don't come just from you producing the video and putting it somewhere. So media really is one of the best marketing strategies that you can have, not to mention the traffic. Most media sites already have traffic efforts in place where they're advertising on the television multiple times, their news show, where they're advertising their website, they're on billboards. And so all the traffic that already happens, that is just part of what you get to tap into when you do media. So that's something that you can really think about, not to mention part of what makes your media interview so great is the ripple effect that it has in your marketing afterwards. And what I mean by that is that you take that interview and you post it in multiple places. You post the before, during, and after. The before might look like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I'm going to be featured on NBC 22 today, and this is what I'm going to talk about. And you post it during, I'm at the studio, here's a picture of me, or here's a quick Facebook Live, look at me, I'm about to go on and talk to this reporter about what it is I specialize in. And then it's the after. The after might look like you doing a thank you, Fox 45 or NBC 22 or the Hallmark Channel for interviewing me. It was so great to be on set. Here are some pictures. All of that also creates a ton of momentum, and it really is a ripple effect. So I see we have some questions. So are there any topics that are more popular with the media? That's a great question, Kelly. So you want to think about what is actually trending, or what's seasonal, or what's relevant now. So one good thing that all of you could think about and just practice with is, what's your point of view about summer? How does summer relate to your expertise? What's something that you have to say about summer? What's something you have to say about Memorial Day? What's happening in the news today, and what's your point of view around it? Those are always things that are really great ways to get your feature picked up. Another thing to think about is to see what they've been covering, or what is it about what you do that's really interesting, that stands out. And then always, if that doesn't get a yes, there's always kids and animals, pets and children. Those are like golden anywhere you go. All right. When should you when should you send a follow-up email? So Miriam, typically if you send that initial connection email, I would wait till about 5 to 7 days afterwards to send your pitch. And then after your pitch, you want to follow up within 2 to 3 days. So you typically want to send your pitch out on a Monday or a Tuesday, and then that way you're following up on a Thursday or Friday. And that way you are staying connected with them to actually get the feature. So I hope that helps. You guys can feel free to send me a message on Facebook if you have any other questions, or you can check out our upcoming event, which is called Become the Next Big Buzz Summit, where we'll be diving in on this and so much more. But I just want to encourage you to remember that authenticity is really the key. And all of the correspondence that you do with the media, you want to be yourself, and you want to really put a face, a visual face on who you are and what it is that you do and how it is that you help people. The more visual your language, even in your pitch, the better, as far as them getting a picture and their idea of how they can have you on camera and how they can feature you. And then you want to think about, how can I, when you're on that interview, speak on the interview as if you're speaking to the person out there in the audience who would want what it is that you have to offer. And part of that is in how you package your sound bites, your talking points, what examples you use, and all of that fun stuff. So I hope you guys had a great time. I had so much fun. Please be sure to like, share this with others, and I believe Amy will be back on tomorrow for tomorrow's marketing boot camp for May. So have a great rest of the day, guys.